And welcome back to eBEFOREi Video Reviews, and boy do I have something big for you guys. This is the retail release of Siege Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy JETFIRE. Now this thing is big. Now I do want to say up front, for those of you that want to pick this up at retail, because you get to look at the figure and see, you can pick out your paint apps and look for any defects. It does not come with the clear plastic window, so you get what you get. As soon as you cut the tape and pull the box out, you see what the figure is going to look like. So if you find an order online, you're certainly not doing yourself any favor by waiting for retail. Anyway, that being said, here he is all armored up, and I mean, this guy is beautiful. I mean, I can't say enough good things about this figure. I mean, look at this guy all the way around. You can see that there aren't any weird gaps. There aren't holes behind the legs. You have a little bit of a gap, I guess, in the elbow, but you can, of course, straighten out the arm at any time to get rid of that look. The sides all filled in. I mean, overall, just an absolutely stellar job by Hasbro on this figure. Now, let's talk about size real quick. This is not leader class. This is what Hasbro is calling commander class. So let's do some size comparisons so you can get a feel for how big this guy really is. All right, that's Toynami's 30th anniversary Voltron, and he's bigger than Voltron. There he is with Masterpiece Ironhide, Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime, Siege Voyager class Optimus Prime, Siege Deluxe class Hound, and Siege Leader class Ultra Magnus. I mean, this guy's big. I'm going to get the camera in real close so we can get some details on this mask. And I'll take all this armor off here in just a few minutes, but look at that head. I mean, what an amazing looking head sculpt that is. The paint all the way throughout is stellar. The in-plastic molding, we'll get into all of that. But again, just very, very impressed with all the work seemingly that has gone into this figure. Now, he does come with blast effects. You get two. All right, each one of these breaks apart into 3 different pieces. So you have a lot of different ways that you could connect the blast effects to the figures to make your JETFIRE look even more imposing. So you get the idea. I mean, I love these things. Let's go ahead and start de-weaponizing our JETFIRE. He comes with all types of interesting accessories, and there's a ton of different ways to fit this on the figure. You can use this as is, kind of like a blaster, all right? You can also break this apart so you can have 2 weapons. All right, on the side of the arms, and this is really just to give them like a G1 type look. You remember the G1 JETFIRE, or Skyfire at the time, was more of a Macross Robotech looking jet because he wasn't originally meant for the Transformers line. So that's kind of how those things worked out. But he came really with a bunch of armor, and so you can armor this one up as well. These are his side weapons, and you can see just how detailed these things are. Look at the plastic. Really pretty impressive. On the top of the figure, we've got 2 small weapons here that come out of the tabs, and I put 2 in the back of his wings. Now the package actually has them sitting on the side, and you can fit it in one of those little gaps right there, right here, I think. I don't know. I'm probably not doing that right. But there's all kinds of places for weapon storage. You can put it here. You can stick something back here. You've got the 2 pegs on the side. You've got the pegs on the arm. There's really just a whole bunch of places. You even have this here. If I push this side flap out, this piece will rotate open. And so there's pegs almost everywhere on this guy. And the weapons are just, I mean, there's so much that you can do with these. Continuing to dismantle the armor, I'm going to go ahead and pull this chest plate off, and it just pops right off. Now, one trick to get this on, this right here has 2 big tabs on the inside. All right, with this chest completely flat, you can stick those in, but to me, I find it easier to pull these out, get them inside the 2 tabs, and then push it and lock it up against the chest. That's just me. But if you do it that way, it's real easy. I'm going to push these back in, and they just click back in. You can see he's starting to look awfully Jetfire-y, like the cartoon. Now I'm going to take these two tabs that were popped out to fit that chest plate in, and I'm going to push them back in. Just like that. Now I'm going to come and take this helmet piece off, and I'm just going to stick my hand back there and separate, and there's the Jetfire face we know and love. This faceplate has a little tab on the back, and that tab fits into a springy part on the head. Let's get the camera up close to that. All right, this blue tip on the front of the head, let me see if I can push that in for you. It's springy, so it fits right in there and then fills the gap up as soon as you take the mask off. I think that's awesome. So there's Jetfire in his G1 cartoon robot mode, and he looks just absolutely stellar. I mean, really, the work on this figure, again, is fantastic. I'm going to pull this figure up close, and I'm going to let the camera do the talking for just a minute, because again, look at the in-plastic molding on this guy. Just panels molded in lines. Really, really impressive. All right, let's get in close to this head sculpt. Amazing looking head. Just fantastic work. Look at all the detail on top, too. I mean, I don't know that I own a figure that has this much in plastic molding. Truly a wonderful job. Now, as memory serves me, and I haven't gone back to watch the G1 cartoon to, refresh my memory or anything, but Jetfire was frozen in ice, I think, on Earth. He originally was a Decepticon, and when he came back, and Starscream kind of tricked him to think the Decepticons were still good people, and so he carried around a Decepticon symbol at first until, the Autobots showed him the way. And so if you want to make him his original self, you do still get the flip around symbol on the front. So there you go. You can have your Jetfire as a Decepticon. You can also push that back in, same way, either way, and make him a friendly Autobot once again. Now, his hands have an interesting bit of ingenuity. If you open his hand, all right, you've got all that gap in there, and that's cool, right? But if you want him to hold the gun securely, when you push in the fingers, you've got a weapon port, which is amazing. I love the ingenuity of that. I mean, look at that. Push this up, completely disappears. Push it back down, comes back to form the weapon. So if you want to store, I keep unlocking his wrist there. If you want to store his weapons elsewhere and just leave his hands open, you don't have that ugly weapon port just sitting around. To me, that looks kind of cool. Let's look at articulation. All right, he's got thick ratchets on those shoulders and then little ratchets on the arm. Now, I do warn you that if you start pulling down on that ratchet, you're going to pull this panel out right here. All right, it's meant to come out for transformation, but you don't want to do that on purpose. So I recommend just putting your finger here if you need to ratchet down that shoulder. Forearms are also on a ratchet. There is, albeit limited, waist articulation. You can take them around that much, which I think is phenomenal. Legs are also on thick ratchets here at the hip, although they don't ratchet up going like that. So I don't know how that's going to wear over time. We'll see. Knees are ratcheted, and he's got a 90-degree bend. Now, one thing I didn't know out of the box is that he has ankle pivot. So you can pivot all the way like that, but you end up breaking the look of the figure. So what I recommend, and to do this, it's very similar to the feet on Siege Megatron, where they clip in place. When you get this out of the box, it almost appears that he doesn't have any ankle pivot. Hear that click? So this is how he is out of the box, and you'd think there's nothing there, but you got to take it and pull on it, till it clicks. It's kind of a heavy pull. All right. And that way you can get the feet completely even on the ground. And he stands just awesome. All kinds of different poses you can do with this figure. I think he's got great articulation. Now, before we transform him, let's get his weapons all back together. And you'll see why we're going to do this here in just a minute. For the chest plate, all right, there's a panel right here. You just want to get your thumb in there and lift that up. All right, you'll notice that there's a cutout that looks like, I don't know, maybe you could put a faceplate in there. So I'm going to take that faceplate and I'm going to just stick that right in like that. And then close that back up. You've got helmet storage. I'm going to flip this thing back around to the other side. Okay, so after I have the helmet in, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to take this double-barreled shotgun deal, and you've got these 2 tabs here and 2 tabs up on the top. I'm going to go ahead and put that on top and just squeeze it in. Make sure that this is down because that's going to fit on top of the armored up plane. Now I'm going to go and put this peg right here into that hole right there. And notice you've got a groove here on the side so that you've got this little side piece. These were the weapons that were on the arms. And I'm just going to fit it in that groove and then lock it in place like that. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so we've got it in just like that. That already looks pretty dang cool. I'm going to stick that on the side just like that. Do the same thing over here. Again, you're just going to take the fin on this weapon. You can put it either way, I think, but the directions tell you to put it backwards. And it seems to fit real well like that. And now you've got holes on the outside. You're going to take these, and again, the directions tell you to put this backwards. I kind of like to put it forwards because, you know, you ain't going to be shooting behind him, right? So put this on like that. All right, so now this is ready to sit on top of the plane. If you decide to armor it up, we'll put this to the side. Now let's get into transformation, and it is fun on this figure. So what we want to do at first is we want to come back down to the wings. And by the way, these tabs that are sticking up, I forgot to tell you, you can push these back in when you're not putting weapons on top, so it's nice and clean with the wings. That's better. Now to get him transformed, what we're going to do is we're going to come around to the back, and we're going to pull out the wing. All right, and we're just going to straighten it out. It's on a dual hinge. This figure's taller than my camera stand. Come back here, grab the other side. Straighten out the wing on that dual hinge. All right, now we're going to take this flap here. We're going to pull this down, and it's going to lock on the other side. So just bend it over the hump. I hate anytime you have to bend anything like that, but it's not that bad. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. Then we're going to come in to the bottom, and you've got another wing flap right there. Do the same thing on the other side, and you've completely built the wings. Now you're just going to grab the wing, and you're going to pull the whole thing down like that. If you distort the wing when you do that, we'll fix it later. And you're going to lock that in place like that. Rinse and repeat. Pull it down. Lock it in place. Now we're going to come down to the legs. We're going to take these panels right here, and we're going to pull these out. And the best way to do it is to get in here, and if you start just pulling on the inside, you'll see the separation. So you want to come in here and just grab the whole panel like that. All right, and you want to pull this all the way out around to the other side. And you want to lock this in place. There's a hole, there's a peg, marry them up. And that's all you need to do there. Do the same thing on the other side. Now, you want to take these feet and you want to go ahead and lock them back in place. Okay, probably would have been easier to do that earlier. Okay, those are locked. Now, you want to kind of combiner wars the leg, as I call it. So it's on this dual hinge on the inside. We've all seen these before. You want to take it, you want to lift it up on that hinge and collapse it in just like that. There's a tab in there and a tab right there, and you just want to make sure that it sits inside of that tab so that it's locked into place. Now we have Horse Jockey Jetfire. He's smaller. Don't make fun of his height. Want to come in here to these tabs right here, or into the chest, and just pull them out from the top. All right, and just kind of leave it like that for now, and give it a little bit of a pivot. All right, now this is cool. Look at back behind his backpack here. These are on a spring, like spring doors. Okay, so we're going to take that. You want to take these shoulders and pull them down so it unlocks. Now you can take this freely, straighten out the head, pull this out. This head will collapse into the doors. How freaking cool is that? All right, and then lift this piece up, come up to the tip, bend it. By the way, this blue panel does open. You can't fit figures in here because you've got this piece. You could probably take that out though. In fact, you can take that out. So if you want to, oh, hang on guys. You can create a cockpit for a figure. That's so freaking cool. I didn't know that. And it's detailed inside. That's great. You could probably stick a small figure in there. All right, so I'm going to lift this all the way up. 2 tabs. Get that in place just like that. Now the arms, you want to lift the fist up like that. You want to reach in here and pull out what ultimately will become like a little stand. And then you take his fist, close it back up, push the whole thing inside, and just let it sit like that. It doesn't lock, anything like that. It just sits like that. Now you want to take this whole wrist section and you want to accordion it back into itself like that. All right? That's kind of difficult to do the first time you do it. You'll get used to it, but it is sort of an awkward feel the first time you do it. So we're going to pull that out, close the fist, collapse it inside like that. And then we're going to do the accordion. There you go. And we got that all locked in. Now we're going to take the arms, and you're wanting to put this piece onto that tab. So you're going to push the whole thing in, goes into that hole, so you're going to lock that in like that. Rinse and repeat on the other side. These pieces, this piece right here is going to move all the way down, and you're going to put that peg on the back of this thing like that. And I find that if you get these arms a little bit funky, it's going to be hard to get it in that slot. This one gives me more trouble than that one. And you need to make sure that these are level. So to pull this back out, all right, you want to keep bending this until that's flat. So just push it in there real hard. Close that tab, lock this down, and get it into the hole just like that. Now you want to come around to the front, and you want to take this piece, and you want to lift it up like that, and you want to bring it down, and it's going to peg into here, and these 2 pegs on the bottom are going to fit right here. So again, this is something that you kind of have to wiggle your way into, but it's not that hard to do. We're almost done here, so now we're going to take this back piece of the foot, bend it in, take the front piece, cover it up like that. We're going to come around to the front, and we're going to take these pieces and we're going to bend them back down like that on that hinge right here. And then we're going to push that tab into that hole and this tab into that hole. And I think it's easier to get the top one first and then go in and fix the front. Now we're super almost done. Now we want to take these little pieces right here and move them up like that. Come into the front, pull down the front landing gear. Let me get my camera up there. Pull down the front landing gear like that. Come down to the legs. Open this gear right here. And we're done. Here's JETFIRE in his awesomely large jet mode. You know, here's my hand, so this thing is definitely got some size to it. This thing is amazing. First of all, it rolls. Figure this size, that's cool to have working landing gear. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Just look at this thing. You just got a giant JETFIRE jet, and I couldn't be more pleased with it. Let me get it off the table so I can show you more. I mean, now, there is a little bit of holes and gaps in the side, and I can't tell you that that doesn't exist, but there's no question who this plane is. That's a large Jetfire. Now, if you want to armor up your Jetfire, all you do is you take this backpack that we pre-assembled earlier, you push down those top wings, you've got that peg sticking out, and you just stick that on top, and just push it down into the hole, and there you've got armored up Jetfire. So all the way around, again, the detail shines through. It's all the detail that we saw already in his robot mode, but just fantastic. For added effect, the blasters fit in the back of the thrusters. So, yeah. That's freaking cool. So, this was a long review. You finished your popcorn, you finished your junior mints, and you're ready to move on with your day. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed this review of the Transformers Siege Jetfire of my dreams. This figure's awesome. If you see it, definitely pick him up. Highly recommended. Remember, there's no plastic bubble, so you're just as fine to order one online and take your chances than you are at one in retail. Good luck trying to find him. Hopefully he'll be aplenty real soon, but highly, highly, highly recommended. So far, my absolute favorite figure of the Siege line. Thanks again for watching eBEFOREi video reviews. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've got more reviews coming, and feel free to check out my channel for other reviews. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've got a lot to catch up on as well. You can find me all over social media. I'm facebook.com/eBEFOREi, and I've got a group on Facebook called eBEFOREi's Transformers and More, which we share everything. You can put pictures of Doctor Who, Transformers, Star Wars, doesn't matter, share your collection, talk about toys, that's what I love to do. And a huge, huge shout out to Enrique Felix for giving me a brand new banner for eBEFOREi Transformers and More. Search for it in Facebook. Click join, I'll add you into the group, and thank you, Mr. Felix, for that awesome, awesome banner. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you back here again real soon.